Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to take a model that you might have found on the internet somewhere or your own models and connect them or rig them up to a power skeleton so that you can make a mod and use those models in the power game and share them with other people as well. So to do that, first we're going to open Unreal Engine and the Power Mod Kit. The Power Mod Kit isn't available right at this single moment, but if you ask on our Discord, we can give you the file we're about to export from here. So from the mod kit though, you can find the file we need under Meshes, Gladiator, Low Poly, this SM Gladiator Low Poly skeletal mesh. So we can right click that, Asset Actions, and then export it to the desktop. Keep the default settings, choose Export. And so here it is on our desktop. We now want to take that and load it into Blender. So we just have this brand new scene here in Blender. We'll clear it out with A, then we'll click X, and then we'll hit delete. And that clears out the scene. And then at this point, we want to set the scale of the scene. So we just go here to the scene tab here on the right and go to unit scale and choose 0.01. And that sets the scale properly. I think you can also hit N and choose N to be 50 here. Yeah, I guess it hasn't done anything yet. But so now, once this is set, it's really important that we set this unit scale first before we import. Now we're going to go ahead and import the file that we just exported. But before we hit import, we want to go here to armatures and make sure that automatic bone orientation is selected. It's probably not selected by default for you. For me it was, but make sure that's selected there. So hit import FBX. And this will bring it in. So Alt middle click will kind of center us on a point, and then we can just middle click and hold to rotate around it. Let's see what's next. So we want to actually break the connection between the mesh and the skeleton. So we first select the mesh and then go to, I believe it's Object, Relations, and we can see here this parent. It's parented to the root. So the root is the armature or the skeleton. So that's really what this is. It's just it's a mesh and a skeleton mixed together. And then this, we're not really sure. It's like some kind of coordinate system. We get rid of that later. But this thing is connected. This mesh is connected to this root armature. So we're going to clear that, just hit this X, and then we're also going to go to the armature or the skeleton and clear its connection back to the mesh. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and save it. So click Save, just to the desktop. And we'll call it like Power Mod Demo. Save the Blender file. Yeah, let's see what's next. Okay, so now that everything's been disconnected, we're going to delete this extra little coordinate system. We're also going to delete the mesh at this point. We don't actually need this mesh because we're actually going to be replacing this ourselves. So we're going to delete this now. The next thing we're going to do before we import is create a new collection here to import into so it doesn't mess up this initial collection. So I think you can just right click, hit new, and it just creates a new collection. It's perfect. We select it. And then let's see. We're going to go ahead and import our model from the internet. So I just have it on my desktop. It's called Bones Scaled. It's an FBX. So we're going to import that. So it comes in. There's a bunch of weird stuff going on. That's okay. Like, that's all going to get fixed here in a second. So let's see. One thing I like to do is just take this mesh. You can just right click it, then right click and just hit shade flat. Just because that's kind of how we have it in the game. Everything's kind of flat shaded. So keeps the art style correct in here as well. Yeah, and let's see. So at this point, we're actually going to clear, just like we did before, we're going to clear the connection between the mesh and skeleton, and the skeleton and the mesh. And again, the skeleton can be called the armature or the skeleton, I believe. So they're interchangeable. But we'll click this first here, the mesh, and we'll just clear it here under Object Relations Parent. Clear the root, so we can already see it fixing up. And we'll break this link as well. Boom. Let's see. So we don't need all of these bones anymore from the internet model, because we're actually going to be connecting just the mesh to the bones from our Power ModKit model, which is up here in the initial collection, this root, this skeleton / armature. So, but we definitely want to keep this. So we're going to select here. We're going to use Shift and just select all of these. Right click and delete. And then we're going to take this and move it into that collection there and delete this one and save it. So one thing that's kind of nice to do at this point, just to see kind of what's going on, all there is right now is just there's a mesh and there's this skeleton. And I know there's these weird big bones here that makes it a little confusing at first. But I'm going to try to like hide those, or at least this big one at first, before we start working on this. But one thing that's nice at this point is I think we can click this. We can go to Object Data, Viewport Display, and we can click Names. And so that will actually show us the names of all the bones. And I think at first it's a little intimidating, but it's actually really simple once you get to learn it. It's just like the basic areas of the body, really. But we'll get in. You'll see as we start to build the connections, you'll start to get very familiar with that and see what I mean, that it's not too much. All right, so let's see. So it looks like the first thing we want to do is we want to connect this mesh here and this skeleton. So it's really important. You have to select the mesh first, and then you have to shift select the skeleton so that they're both selected. Then you have to press Control P, which brings up like the parent menu. And at this point, I think we're just going to use automatic weights for now, even though we're going to be kind of clearing them out as we go. So we'll just select Armature Deform with automatic weights, and boom. And if we just unselect, now if we select, for example, the, like, I can't remember which one, I think it's the mesh, and we go here to Relations, you'll see now it has a parent to root. So they're actually connected now. Save that. So we're going to try to hide these big bones really quick. So let's see. So we're going to go to the skeleton first. We're going to open these up one level, and we can enter edit mode on either of these just by clicking either of these green icons. So we'll go to edit mode on this, and you can see it up here. You're in edit mode at the top left now, as opposed to if you go back out, you're well, actually you have to hit tab and you go back out to like object mode, where you're just able to like select individual objects. But we're going to go into the skeleton, go into edit mode here on the skeleton. We're going to select this big bone right here, and we're going to we're actually going to find it. You'll see why in a second. It's actually called the IK_hand root. I think we'll just find it at the top level here. If we just go to root, here it is here. So we're gonna right click and hide that, and then it's kind of weird when we go back out here, you'll still be able to see it. So we're gonna try to hide it from there as well, and then we're gonna like swap back and forth, and it's hidden. I know, it's super tricky. I'm actually surprised I got that the first try. So, but yeah, that's how you do it. So there's a video. You can see exactly how it's done. Now we can see some areas of the model that we need to work with. So let's see what's next. So at this point, we're going to start connecting the mesh to the skeleton. I guess they call it weight painting, but you'll see it's actually pretty simple. So we can use shift middle to like pan around. Again, we can use alt middle click to just center on something and then make it our pivot point. We're in vertex mode right now, which is why we see all these black dots. Up at the top left here, we can go into either edge or face mode. We'll be working like in the face mode. The other thing we'll want to do, which is really nice, is go to our select box, click and hold that down, and then go to the select circle, and then bring this down to like a radius of like 15 maybe even like 10. And then with this, we can actually paint selections onto the mesh here as we reference these bones. So at the top right here, we can also see this kind of like mode where it's kind of transparent. And we can see the names of everything. So like this right here, you can see in these black outlines, that's your pelvis bone. That's the bone we're going to be working with first. I'm going to save this. So hold on one second. Let's see. So at this point, the other thing that's really important is here on the right, we have this thing called object data, this object data tab. And I'm just going to expand this out. We have these things called vertex groups. And these are just groups. This is your bone. See like the pelvis bone right here. And this is just saying this is the group of faces here on the model, on the mesh, that are associated with this bone. So you'll see how easy this is. So this is the pelvis bone. And on the mesh, that corresponds to this chunk here on the mesh. So this is like this lower part of the skeleton here. That's the pelvis right here. So we're going to click the pelvis, and we're going to hit select it first, and we're going to see, because we did automatic weighting, it already tried to select a bunch of stuff. But as you can see, it's actually missing some faces. So we'll go back out of this mode. It's missing some of the faces. Also, it's also nice to be able to just hide the skeleton sometimes temporarily. So up at the top right here, where we see root, we can just hit this little eyeball here, and boom, we don't see the skeleton, because we already know we're working with the pelvis. So we already know we want to assign all of these faces here to the pelvis. So by hiding that, it gives us a little bit more room. Makes it a little bit easier to see. So what I like to do actually is I like to select just to see what's selected. And then once it's selected like this, I can actually hit remove. And that removes this whole selection from that. So if I just click off of it and I hit select again, you'll see it doesn't select anything, which is good. So instead, I want to do my own custom selection. So in this case, it's kind of easy because I'm going to show you guys, there's a couple tricks. So like one, we can just hold shift and then hold left mouse and click and drag and just paint a selection on, which is really useful. So that's one way to do it. The other way is, because this is like a completely separate chunk, pretty much, we can just hover over any face, edge, or point and just hit L, and it will like automatically select that chunk. So that makes things go really fast for certain parts. Not every model has that capability, but in this case we do. But even if you had to paint it manually, you know, as you can see, it's really fast once you set up this circle tool and you set the brush size down a little bit so it doesn't bleed too much. And then you can just like really quickly select like an entire set of faces that you need. And it's important, you know, that you do this, that you try to make sure that that these individual areas are set up to the bones correctly so that it animates properly. So this is all selected. So what I do is I just hit assign while pelvis is selected. I hit assign, then I click off of it, hit select to check it, and there you go. It's the pelvis is now attached to the pelvis bone is now attached to these faces. So I'll show you in a minute once we get more done how we can adjust this in pose mode and actually test our animations. So so we just literally have to go down this entire list, and it's quite a bit. It'll take you some time, and we're actually going to do it in this entire video, so you'll see kind of how long it takes. So I'm going to just unselect it. I'm going to move to the next one, select. So this is spine 1, so we'll bring back the skeleton. We'll unhide it here. So we can see this is the spine 1 bone here. So this is completely wrong, obviously. Not completely, but it's not really correct. Like, it shouldn't have any of the ribs. So what I'm going to do is just hit remove, unselect, hit select, make sure it's clear. It is. And so spine 1 is going to be more like this section here. So I'm going to hide the skeleton, and I'm going to paint that on. Just hold shift so it selects everything. I'm going to get this part as well. And there you go. We're going to assign that. Test it. It's good. We're going to move to spine 2. Alt click. Rotate around that area. That's spine 2. So spine 2 is going to be like this entire rib section. You'll see here. So I'm going to select. I'm going to remove its previous selection. Select the task. Then I'm going to paint all of this. Is going to belong to spine 2. So that looks good to me. So assign. Then let's do spine 3, which is right here. So that corresponds to like this area here, and these two on the back here. So spine 3. We're going to select, remove, unselect, select the test that it's gone. That's good. So we've removed all of the pre-existing selected faces. And then we're going to paint these two on and these two in the back. Then we're going to assign those. Then we're going to do clavicle left, which is this one. So if we look here, you can see that black bone right there, that's the clavicle left, and that's clavicle right, but we do that later. So clavicle left is just going to be not, you know, just everything besides where we just did these. So one thing we're trying to do is just every bone should be relevant to or related to its own unique sets of polygons, if possible, as much as possible. I'm not sure if that's required, but that's what we've tried to do just to keep it simple. So yeah, so clavicle. So we'll go out of this transparent mode. Selected the clavicle. That's what it's selected already. Remove. So that's gone. So we're gonna select this, and then these here. So that's the left clavicle. We're gonna assign that. Then we're gonna move to upper arm left. Now, let's select that. Remove. Perfect. Select, it's gone. So in this case, this is where it can be a lot easier, where this is just its own kind of chunk of mesh. So we can just select upper arm left, hover over any face, hit L, and boom, it selects that entire chunk automatically. That's just a bone, so don't worry about that. And we can just assign that to upper arm left. Then we can do lower arm left. So we're going to hide the bone here, or hide the skeleton. So lower arm, again, we want to select all, remove what was already selected, and just hit L, and just hit assign, and then test it, and it's good. So we're going to do the left hand. So the left hand will actually be, we're going to, select, remove, okay. So nothing selected, that was selected before. It's going to be these pieces here and this. And we're going to assign that to the left hand bone. And we're going to do index 1, 2, and 3. So each finger has like 3 bones. So this is the index finger right here. So just ahead of the time, we're going to hit select, remove. Then we're going to do select, remove, and then select, remove. Just to make it easier. Same thing with the middle. Select, remove, select, remove. Same thing with the thumbs. All right, and then we're going to build those again. So we already did the hand. So we're going to do index 1. It's going to be this. So we're going to assign that. And then we're going to do index 2. And index 3. And test those. It's good. All right. Then we're going to do middle. It's going to be attached to all of these. So assign. And it's actually going to be the same for all of these. Or I'm sorry. You know what? Let's remove those. That's middle. Like that. And of course the thumb. Assign that one there. And that to that. And that to that. Just testing them all. All right, that's done. That's like one whole side there. Let's do, now we're moving over to the clavicle right. So we can see that here. There's a clavicle right bone. So we're going to start there again. Just on the other side of that. So again, select and remove. And it's going to be this, this, and this, and this. I'm sorry. You can hit Control click to unselect. So that's going to be clavicle right, assign. Here we have upper arm right, select and remove. Hit L on it to auto select it, and then choose to assign it. Let's hide the skeleton. Here's the lower arm. So we're going to go ahead and select and remove. Click it. Assign. Let's do our hand. So select and remove. Let's just do everything else while we're here. Okay. So here's our hand. Assign that. Just check everything. Uh-oh. Let's remove. Okay, save it. So at this point, we finished that. I mean, we're going to go on to the neck. I guess we'll do the neck first. So Alt click, Alt middle click, rotate around that area. So that was already selected. So that actually looks pretty good already. So I guess we'll just keep that. Head. I guess we'll like redo that. So just hit remove. And then just maybe L on this. There we go. And then assign. Yeah, so that's separate. We want to separate the head from the neck. So before I guess we move down to the thigh, I'll show you one kind of cool thing. We have the whole upper body now completed, actually. And so we can go into, once we have to actually unhide it. We have to actually see it here. And then we can go into edit mode, I believe, on the skeleton, on the armature, and we can go to pose mode. Let's see, rotate. I'm not 100% sure how to use this, to be honest. Ah, there we go. You can click a bone, and you can, you know, like even this bone. And you can actually test your animations here, or I'm sorry, your rigging, which controls the animations ultimately. So you can see it actually, you know, stretches the polygons automatically. See that? Pretty neat. Here's like the head. The arms. Yeah, so you can kind of test to see how it's all working. It should work. So if you do what we're doing automatically, so just a nice way to be able to test stuff just to see how it works. So yeah, let's keep going. So I guess we'll go back to edit mode. Really editing the mesh here. We just did the head vertex group. So we're going to do thigh left. So that's this one. We'll hide this. So I think this is another easy one. First we can just select. We'll just remove it anyways. Not sure if it's fully selected. Just hit L. Assign it. We'll want to attach this kneecap to it as well. So we'll select it, select the kneecap, and then we'll hit assign. Let's test it. Looks good. Alt middle click. There we go. Now we can like rotate around that area. Yeah, so this is the calf L, calf left. Again, if we were to unhide this, you can see that calf L. So select, remove, just hit L on it. There we go, and just hit assign. Calf twist is another bone. It's exactly, we just treat it like calf L. So you can just select, remove, and just select the same thing that you selected for calf L. Any of the twists go along with the same as the regular. So just assign that. Let's do foot L. So select, remove. So this here will be the foot. Assign that. And then this will be the ball here. I'll have to select this. Select, remove, select all of these, and assign those. Okay, and then thigh twist. I guess that's this one up here, left. So select, remove, hit L on it, hit assign, boom, and then we move to the right side. So select, remove, L, assign. Oh, whoops. And we also got to put the kneecap on. So assign. Looks good. So calf right. Remove. Let's do the foot. So let's assign that. Yep. Didn't get that fully right. Let's remove this. Let's do this one more time. Assign. All right. Assign. Select. Remove. Hopefully we'll get this time. That's super weird. Yeah, so nothing selected. Yeah, that's really weird. Just regular select. What if I just do this, this, and this? Yeah, somehow that paint select was like bleeding through and selecting these. That's really odd. So I just changed it up here. I held and just went to regular select. Okay. Let's do the ball. Wonder how this other foot turned out. Yeah, it's messed up too. Let's do that again. So remove. Assign. Oh. All right, well, I'm just going to leave it for now. Let's do ball right. Oh. Yeah, that works. Okay. So thigh, twist, right. Leave this. Select and remove the existing. Assign. Save it. Okay, so now we have to finish off the hand. So there's some pinkies and all that. So let's go ahead and do that. They're all just going to be attached to these larger blocks here. So this is the left-hand side. Let's see. So let's just select and remove. Same with these. Just kind of clearing them out. Our twists. And then the pinkies here on the right side, ring fingers on the right side, and the lower arms. And then these IKs, we're not even going to have to deal with at all. Hopefully I was doing that right. All right, so pinky left will be here. Pinky left 1. Assign that to there, and that to there. Test them out. Okay. Now ring 1. Oops. All right, all the rings should be done. So lower arm twist is just going to be this entire piece here. So assign that. And upper arm is this piece. Save it. All right, let's do the pinkies on the right. Okay. Ring finger. And the lower arm twist. And the upper arm. And that's it. We've actually completed all of the rigging that's needed. But we'll go ahead and see the last part here, which is how to export it. So you can bring it in to Power as a mod. So 1 second here. Oh, it's fine. I was going to turn off these things, but I forgot where they are. Somewhere in here. Oh, it's okay. So let's see what's next. Oh yeah, so this is really important. The final thing we need to do is go back out to object mode and select both the mesh and shift select the root, the armature or the skeleton, and you have to, once you've shift selected those, you have to on your keyboard press Control A. That will bring up this apply menu and hit rotation and scale. You have to do that and then save it. That will apply all the rotation and scale values. And that's that. So the final step is you have to export this. So to export, you go to File, Export, FBX. Leave this. This is really important over here. You have to adjust these settings, these export settings here on the left. So what we're going to do is in this main menu here, we're going to make it where it only exports armature, and then use shift to select mesh and others. So it'll only export armatures, mesh, and others. We also want forward to be Y and up to be Z. The next thing is we want to, up at the top here, we want to go to armatures and remove add leaf bones. And we want to go to animation and remove baked animation, which will disable all of those. Everything else is good. And so at this point, you can just leave that. You can hit export and you're good. There it is. Or I'm sorry, here it is up here. So this file here, in another video, I will show you how to take this and create a mod that can be hot loaded into into Power as a plugin. And yeah, you can use this model in the game and everybody will be able to see it. It's going to be pretty cool. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.